Moments ago, a shocking report revealed the true cost of owning an electric vehicle, and EV owners are in total disbelief. For years, the promise of cheaper maintenance, fewer trips to the gas station, and a cleaner world have driven millions of people to make the switch to electric. If you think you know the real cost of owning an EV, think again, because what is just revealed might make you question everything.
I'm going to put a 100, 200, 2,000% tariff. They're not going to sell one car into the United States.
We're going to make Detroit great again. When foreign leaders and CEOs call me up to complain about our tariffs, my answer will be very simple. Build it in America.
Mercedes-Benz, BMW, all of the different Volkswagen, millions and millions of cars. They don't want anything from us. We have deficits that are crazy. We're not going to have them anymore. We're going to put tariffs on them.
It's a perfect application for a lot, but not for everybody. Some want gasoline propelled, and we have a lot of gasoline right under there. You know the story with hydrogen. It's great until it blows up, in which case you're not recognizable.
For months, government officials and EV advocates have painted an optimistic picture of the electric revolution, emphasizing affordability, convenience, and a cleaner future. But behind closed doors, troubling whispers suggested a different reality. These whispers exploded into a public reckoning when documents about the true costs of owning an EV were revealed. And it's going to get much worse, trust me.
On average, a single battery for an EV, you have to dig up 500,000 pounds of earth. That involves heavy machinery, oil, gas, and let's not forget, 85% of critical mineral processing is in China. I'm pretty sure their environmental standards are not very high. According to other studies by the manufacturers themselves, like Volvo, like Volkswagen, manufacturing an EV generates 70% more emissions than manufacturing an internal combustion engine. You need to drive 70,000 miles to even break even with an internal combustion engine. Even at 100,000 miles, you're only getting a 20 to 30% reduction in carbon emissions. So it'll do nothing for climate change. It'll do nothing to reduce overall global emissions. And by the way, the EV owner already drives less. So it's unlikely that most of them have even reached the break-even point. So just by the math, in the short term, EVs increase emissions globally.
The leaked reports showed a staggering disparity between what EV buyers were told and the actual financial burden they face. Hidden fees, surging electricity costs, and expensive battery replacements were just the tip of the iceberg. For many, the dream of affordable green energy turned into a financial nightmare. And just when you thought the situation couldn't get worse, it did. Repairs for EVs are turning out to be far more expensive than manufacturers originally let on. Specialized parts, limited service locations, and labor shortages have driven repair bills through the roof. For some unlucky owners, replacing a single battery can cost as much as buying a used car.
Ability to always, I charged my car yesterday and it cost me $40 to fill it to like 95%.
Yeah, it depends. It seems like sometimes it is just as expensive as gas.
One EV owner shared his frustration online, saying, "I thought I was saving money. Now I'm spending thousands on things I didn't even know could go wrong." Another wrote, "I've had my car for 2 years and I'm already regretting it." The leaked reports came as a shock for everyone. One section even revealed that battery replacement costs, often touted as negligible, could reach up to 50% of the car's original value after just a few years of use. It also revealed that electricity rates in regions with high EV adoption had spiked by as much as 30%, driven by increased demand on aging grids. Perhaps most concerning was the revelation that several popular EV models required proprietary servicing, with costs significantly higher than traditional vehicles. For many EV owners, this new information felt like a betrayal, a direct contradiction to the promises that had convinced them to make the switch in the first place. But then, something even more crazy was revealed.
What should we do when we're told to evacuate ahead of hurricanes? I'm in the state of Florida. The electric grid is overloaded and we're stuck in a standstill traffic for hours, and tens of thousands of people are pouring onto our freeways.
I guess you'd have to hitchhike with somebody who has an internal combustion engine car. I think that's why a lot of consumers are concerned right now, a little skeptical about whether an EV is the right choice for them. They're not sure whether they'll have convenient access to charging. And in California, we see some rationing and restrictions on the hours when people can charge. And I think that concerns a lot of people. There are a lot of question marks in exactly that area.
It's not only the repair costs that have people talking. Hidden fees, ones that manufacturers conveniently failed to mention, are hitting owners when they least expect it. Here's where things get really interesting. Charging costs are skyrocketing, and EV owners are screwed. Also, for years, polished campaigns backed by glossy commercials showcased happy families charging their EVs in spotless driveways. These campaigns were often paired with government announcements boasting tax incentives and energy independence. Yet behind this mounting evidence suggested systemic mistakes. Industry insiders had been aware for years of increasing battery production costs, supply chain inefficiencies, and hidden environmental tolls of mining for lithium and cobalt. Internal discussions warned that these costs could eventually trickle down to consumers. Despite these warnings, public-facing messaging remained silent, creating a growing frustration on the EV owners.
You're saying Trump 2.0 might allow Chinese EVs to build in the U.S. Explain that.
You never know with Mr. Trump what he might do, but he has said, he's on record, that if the deal makes sense, he may allow Chinese manufacturers to set up factories here in the United States. Why would he do that? Well, bring capital in, some know-how around electrics and batteries, employ people, pay tax revenues to the local cities and states.
And what would that mean for the likes of Ford and GM then?
They're terrified of just how competitive the Chinese EVs are. The Chinese have like a 25 or 30% advantage when it comes to cost. So they could come into the market and start to gobble up market share.
And so why would Trump shoot his own industry in the foot?
He's not always the most logical, and he may be just posing. Maybe he'll throw that out the door. But as a business person, he might say, I don't want imports of Chinese cars, but I'll allow them to bring their capital and their know-how into the heartland of America. But he likes the idea of getting their money to go to work here in the U.S.
Remember when EVs were supposed to be cheaper to charge than filling up a gas tank? That might have been true a few years ago, but the report shows that rising electricity rates and the growing demand on charging networks are quietly driving up costs. EV owners in areas with limited public charging options are being forced to pay premium prices, with some charging stations now costing almost as much as gas. It's like they lured us in with savings, and now we're stuck paying more than ever, one EV owner said.
And right now, as we speak, large factories just started, are being built across the border in Mexico. So with all the other things happening on our border, and they're being built by China to make cars and to sell them into our country. No tax, no anything. The United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed for allowing this to happen. And the leader of the United Auto Workers should be fired immediately. And every single auto worker, union and non-union, should be voting for Donald Trump, because we're going to bring back car manufacturing, and we're going to bring it back fast.
And that's not all. Maintenance packages, software subscriptions, and unexpected fees for things like battery diagnostics are leaving owners feeling blindsided. One detail in the report revealed that some manufacturers are even locking essential features behind paywalls, forcing owners to pay monthly just to access what used to be standard. But here's where it gets really shocking. These costs might only be the beginning. Experts are warning that as EVs age, these problems could grow exponentially. Battery degradation, software updates that slow down performance, and limited access to affordable replacements could leave many EVs essentially worthless within a decade. Even worse, some manufacturers are reportedly designing EVs in a way that makes them nearly impossible to repair independently, forcing owners to rely on costly service centers. This is leaving many to wonder, is the EV revolution really about sustainability, or is it just another way for corporations to trap consumers in a cycle of endless spending?
Car works fine. I'm like, no, electric car is better, I should try it. And it was hard, hard to get people to do a test drive. Well, first of all, nobody knew who we were. Never heard of this company. And I'm like, yeah, we're named after Nikola Tesla. You know that guy? Nope. So for sure we were doing push in the beginning, because people said there was no one telling us that they wanted an electric car. So it was not out of like, it was like lots of people coming up to me saying, hey, I really want an electric car. I heard that 0 times. So people were like, it's like, man, we're going to make an electric car and show that these things can be good. And then people want them.